Hi, this is Interstellar Warrior. I want to talk about a geographical change that I noticed out here near where I live pertaining to a mountain called Kitt Peak Mountain, which contains the Kitt Peak National Observatory. I noticed this change about a couple of months ago. I drive by this mountain every day, and I thought at first maybe it was my imagination. But then after researching Mandela effect, I thought maybe this isn't my imagination, maybe this current reality that the geography of that mountain has changed. So I wanted to talk about that today in this video. But before I go any further, I wanted to read to you about the Kitt Peak National Observatory for those of you who are not familiar with it. The Kitt Peak National Observatory is a United States astronomical observatory site located on Kitt Peak of the Quinlan Mountains in the Arizona Sonoran Desert on the Tohono O'odham Nation, 55 miles southwest of Tucson, Arizona. With 24 optical and 2 radial telescopes, it is the largest, most diverse gathering of astronomical instruments in the world. The observatory is administered by the National Optical Astronomy Observatory. Here's a photo, a part of that gathering of telescopes on top of Kitt Peak. But there is a telescope that is the largest among those telescopes, and that's called the Mile 4-meter telescope. I'll show you one of the photos of it. That's it right here. This you can see from miles away. It is so huge. You can see it miles away on top of Kitt Peak. I'll show you another closer photo, another close up here. Okay. This thing is huge. It's got 3 floors. There's actually, I've been inside of it. There's actually an elevator that takes you up to the 3rd floor where the telescope is located. And like I said, this thing is huge. You can see it from miles away. I'll give you another view. This is a view of Kitt Peak Mountain from the ground level. This is a view that I see every day when I drive by it. Here's the Mile 4-meter dome, 4-meter telescope right here. That you can see from miles away because it's so huge. But a couple months ago, I noticed a change, a geographical change. And this was before I became aware of the Mandela effect. I thought maybe at first it was my imagination, but now after researching the Mandela effect and hearing from other people from the videos on YouTube talking about the geography of our continents on this earth, changing their shape and locations, the size of monuments changing. And I thought maybe it's not my imagination, maybe it has changed because this mountain does not look the same anymore. I noticed a change a couple months ago, and the change is the fact that this peak right here, this mountain in the forefront, has gotten larger. And Kitt Peak behind it, this is behind this peak. This is in the back. It's not connected to part of this mountain right here. This is further back. And I remember this being further forward in the forefront. Because I remember this Mile 4-meter telescope, you could see much more clearly. It was much larger. But now it seems like it's gotten smaller, and the mountain itself, the peak, has moved further back to the foreground. And this has gotten larger. So I started doing some research, and I found some pictures that you might find interesting. See if I can find it here. This is actually posted January 2nd, 2012. So here it is right here. Here's the sunset, which has the silhouette of the same mountain. Now I'm going to let you take a closer look of this. Here we go. This is the same mountain. I don't know if you noticed, but that peak that I was talking about that was in the forefront looks smaller in this one. And this is how I remember it. And you can see the Mile 4-meter telescope sticking out much more prominently. I'm going to compare it to the other photo I just previously showed you here. Okay, so making this side-by-side comparison, you can see in this photo that the peak is larger than the peak here in this photo. It's the same peak. You can see the same shape. Here's this little, like this bump right here. You can see it right here. It's right here. Going up. Okay, it's the same mountain peak, but here it's smaller. It's lower, as you can see. And Kitt Peak behind it, in this particular photo, is higher than this peak, and more to the front, and making the mile 4-meter telescope look much larger. You can see it much more clearly. Whereas in this one, it's lower. See right here, Kitt Peak is lower than this peak. You can even see when you look back and forth how this has grown. This peak has grown much larger. When I found this particular sunset photo of Kitt Peak, it gave me confirmation that I wasn't imagining this, because you can clearly see the difference here. It's like it's actually grown. Okay, so give you another view. Here's another view with this peak being much larger. Kitt Peak Mountain in the background, further back. But remember, you can see this much more clearly miles away, and it was much further in the front. I just felt I needed to share this with you all. And finding that sunset picture gave me confirmation. I don't know if people out here have noticed a change or not, but I've noticed it because I drive by this mountain every day. Here's another view. You can't see the mile 4-meter telescope from this view, but I believe the geography of this mountain has changed. It's changed. This particular photo with the peak much larger, this was published January 31st of 2012. The sunset photo published January 2nd. So could this change have taken place within this month, within that same year, 2012? Strange, isn't it? But I just wanted to share this with you. Hope you find this video interesting. Hope it helps any of you that are experiencing the Mandela effect, especially people out here who live in Southwest Arizona, who drive by this mountain every day as well. Please remember to subscribe, share, like, or dislike. I will continue to do my research and bring more videos to you containing truth. This is Interstellar Warrior. Peace out, people.